Hello everybody and welcome to this session about interviews. My name's Olivia and I'm the Regional Manager for East Asia, and I'm joined by my colleague Sam, who's the Regional Manager for Europe. So just a quick overview of the session then and what we're going to cover today. So we're going to have a look at kind of why we interview within our admissions process. We're going to talk about what we're looking for when we are interviewing. We'll talk a bit about what students can expect when they come to interview, and we'll talk a little bit about how students can prepare and what they can do in advance as well. So in terms of why we interview then, as many of you will know, we do have quite an involved admissions process. And kind of an overview of all of the steps are on the screen there, and I know that you will have perhaps had a look at this in one of the other pre-recorded presentations. But the interview really is situated as kind of the penultimate step of the admissions process, but it's by no means the most important part of our admissions process.
That's right, and I think it's really important to see the interview as just one component of the admissions process. In a way, it allows us to get that final piece of the jigsaw about a candidate. We will have already assessed their UCAS personal statement, and our admissions tutors will look at the reference that you provide as well as a school and take into account any written work that the candidate has supplied and any admissions test result that has been that they have taken as part of the process. Now, that only applies for some of our courses, but where that information is provided, it will of course be considered. So the interview is another window onto the candidate, onto their motivations for applying to the course, on their suitability for the course at Cambridge and the style of teaching that we offer as well in particular. And I've heard it described by admissions tutors before, and Olivia, you've probably heard this as well, but an interview is maybe a slightly misleading term in that it gives the sort of wrong impression of exactly what purpose the interview serves. It is really an interactive aptitude test, and that covers, as I say, the candidate's suitability for the course and the style of study at Cambridge in particular. So that's where the interview is situated. A little bit more information about why we interview. To some extent, this is a factor of us being able to interview in the first place. We have the people power at Cambridge to interview, and so we are able to assess candidates in much greater depth than they might be assessed by other university choices in the UK. And really, we have such a large number of very well qualified applicants every year that we do have to find some ways of distinguishing between those candidates, of separating the field out, if you like, so that we get a sense of who the really strong candidates are and are therefore able to make them offers. So the admissions assessments serve this purpose where those are required for relevant courses, but the interview is of course the universal stage of the admissions process where we will be sifting between candidates. It also allows us to see, as I've alluded to already, how students perform in an academic context that is really relevant to the course that they are applying for. And there's a few different things within that our admissions tutors and interviewers will be looking to assess. Firstly, it will be about whether the student knows the course that they're applying for, knows in detail what it will entail, and therefore have they done their research? Are they confident that they know what they're getting themselves in for? And so this is something that students can really help themselves with by making sure they do that research in advance, looking beyond the title of the course. Some universities may cover a subject very differently to the way that we cover it at Cambridge. And so it is important to know what route they can take through a course, what the kind of specialisms are, and just to make sure that it is well suited to their academic interests. To some extent, interviewers will also be looking at the motivation of students. So they'll be looking at really whether they are well equipped to study the subject for 3 years minimum. Some of our courses are slightly longer where they have an integrated master's option. And obviously in cases such as medicine and veterinary medicine, the study period is significantly longer.